The views and opinions throughout KZI's broadcast day are not necessarily the views or opinions of KZI's board, staff, underwriters, or volunteers.
Welcome to ZUMBI, a monthly conversation with artists, activists, and scholars whose work is influenced by the richness of Black life in Austin and around the world. Your host is writer and community curator Stephanie L. Lane.
Good morning, KZI listeners. Again, this is ZUMBI, named after Afro-Brazilian freedom fighter Zumbi dos Palmares. And as always, I am your host, Stephanie Lang. And as always, making it happen behind the scenes is show engineer and producer, Mr. DJ Slice. Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I actually can see you this time now.
Got my camera on.
Yes. We're fancy up here with the Skype now.
Oh, yeah.
We're 8 months into doing it this way, right?
Yep.
Wow. So, all right. Well, I'm not going to waste any more time because I have to introduce today's guest. I'm very excited who is joining us virtually. And that is Miriam Conner. So I'm going to tell a little bit about you, and then we'll get into our conversation.
Sounds good.
And DJ Slice, if you have any questions or anything, please, you are my co-host in many ways. So feel free to jump in with your comments or responses, okay?
Don't worry, I will.
I know. All right. So Miriam Conner was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and came to Austin, Texas when she was 3 years old. Graduating from St. Stephen's Episcopal High School, she received a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Photography from the California Institute of the Arts in Los Angeles. After graduating, Miriam came home to Austin and began managing Pine Street Station, an artist warehouse and gallery, for 2 years, and has since planned countless art shows in addition to co-founding Topology Art Warehouse. She has also worked with South by Southwest, Art Outside, Forklift Danceworks, Six Square, Austin's Black Cultural District, the City of Austin, and more. And I'm going to add many more. She currently organizes and curates for Public City. Yay! Shout out to Meredith. And is the vice chair of the African American Resource Advisory Commission for the City of Austin, which advises the City Council on issues relating to the quality of life for the Austin City's African American community. And this quote, which I love, is, "At the age of 15, I discovered what I want to do for the rest of my life. I know not many people are sure about what they want to do by the age of 29, much less by the age of 15. But I am very grateful to have found that particular passion that wakes me up in the morning and tucks me in at night. My life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness lies within art. Today, definitions of art are changing. One usually does not consider curatorial activities as being part of an artist's work. Artistic authorship becomes blurred when the artist takes the role of director, producer, or curator." Yes. So true. Especially welcome, Miriam. To
Thank you.
Yes. Wow. So, yes. There's so much to talk about just within the last kind of quotes that I shared of yours. And so one thing I always love to do, we do on ZUMBI, is kind of just start with this journey to, where you are now into this work. And I mean, you've kind of laid this out for us in talking about, at this age, at age 15, and this is what you wanted to do. So let's start by you just sharing kind of what brought you to that point, and how do you define the work that you're doing?
So, I mean, I've always loved art. Art is in everything, and I can see it in everything. And I'm still best friends with my first art teacher's family. So art has been a constant. I remember being the family photographer when I was young. And then in high school, I got in the dark room and learned that magic of making a piece of paper into an actual memory. And that changed my world. And so from there, I went to CalArts, which was my first school. I didn't have to take any kind of tests or anything. I had to send in my portfolio. And I was in student council at CalArts. I was also part of this planning group where we'd throw a bunch of events. And since it was an art school, I'm actually going to call it an artist school. We could throw events in the middle of the desert because it was close to LA. And we'd rent generators and we'd get graph artists and people would bring their self-expression to these events. And so I came back to visit my mom for 2 weeks and I wanted to live in California, and I left all my books and my clothes in California, and I moved back to Austin because it revitalized and reignited my love for Austin. And that's when I found Pine Street Station and Reggie Thomas. And she's taught me so much. And looking back at what she's taught me, from a place where we could just self-express within events, whatever we wanted to having guardrails of city rules. And we had within self-expression, we had these boundaries, and going to the permitting office and seeing how, and being taught how official and quote official system events are run, definitely changed my perspective on how art plays within the system.
Mm-hmm. Will you share for folks who may not know who Reggie Thomas is?
Yes. So Reggie Thomas, she is a prolific artist. She's done art for the state capitol, glass etchings. When you walk into the Capitol, there's some of the panels. So the Capitol got burnt down in 1950s, 60s. Halfway got burnt down, and she did the glass restorations for them. So some of the stars etchings, and some of the titles of the rooms. She's done work for the Queen. She's done work for countless amazing people, but she also does visual art, and her visual art is cultural, it is Black, it is expressive, but also abstract. It's the way that she thinks and emotes, and she's able to put her brain on paper. She's phenomenal. But she's been in Austin for a very, very long time, and she's helped the arts community grow into what it is now. And Pine Street Station is one of the reasons why South by Southwest came to East Austin, and it's where Fader 4 used to be. So, yep.
Wow. Okay. So, in kind of continuing that, your journey to this work, and I mean, several things you said just really resonated with me. I also define myself as a curator, as a community curator, and even just the way that the role that art plays, right, in activism. And, one of my most noted memories is Harry Belafonte saying, artists are the keepers of the truth, right? So in thinking about that and kind of your journey, how do you kind of interact with that notion? And even if you're wanting to kind of mention some of the projects you do, because I definitely see this connection with art and activism and, memory and social justice.
Yeah, so art, it's the language that connects everybody. It can transverse political lingo to just common people lingo to slang. It gets you to understand and think in different ways that is congruent to how other people think. And it gets you to talk about it and to talk about those emotions and to talk about those social and cultural and political instances or experiences. So using that, so Meredith Powell and myself, I'm fully with Public City now, and which is amazing. I love it because we do arts-based community engagement. And also, little sidestep, that's how we met, through Meredith. So we do arts-based community engagement, and one of those projects that we've done is the Pillars Project with Eastlink Trail. We collected, like, by way of the Mueller Foundation, Austin Parks Foundation, we collected histories along the trail from people that have lived or have a history in the neighborhood surrounding the trail. And then we got artists to paint murals on the pillars underneath the Rosewood Bridge, and reflecting the histories of people. And so it's time for a break.
I'm trying to look what my okay. All right. Well, yes, this is a wonderful cliffhanger. So we'll take a quick moment here, pause, and take a break.
Support provided by Jesse's Auto Inspections. Jesse's Auto Inspections, located at 9909 FM 969 Austin, Texas. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Offering state inspections, auto repairs, brake jobs, tune-ups, oil changes, and AC repair. For more information, 512-928-8479 or FennellJesse@yahoo.com. That's FennellJesse@yahoo.com. Jesse's Auto Inspections for your automotive needs.
Support comes from I Live Here, I Give Here, leading the local generosity movement. Giving Tuesday on December 1st is a day of giving and unity in support of our local nonprofit community. Nonprofits need our help as they face increased need and limited resources due to COVID-19. Learn more about Giving Tuesday and how to get involved with the causes that are important to you at amplifyatx.org.
Hey, what's shaking, y'all? This is Noel Gordine. I want you to check out Ingrid After Dark every Friday morning, midnight to 5 a.m. on KAZI 88.7 and on the web at kazifm.org.
88.7, 88.7, 88.7. Keep it locked to KAZI.
All right. So we're back with ZUMBI, and our guest today is Miriam Conner. And before the break, we were talking about the Eastlink Pillars project at Rosewood Park, which is amazing, and I recommend everyone go and check that out. So please continue.
So we had the chance to get 6 local artists to paint murals reflecting the histories of the community members along the Eastlink Trail on to the pillars. And so that was an amazing experience because on Rosewood, people drive by, artists were painting, people were honking their horns. It uplifted the community in a way that at that time and still needs to be uplifted. And we also, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but we are going to be doing another layer of pillars, which is amazing. Yes. So,
yes.
So that's, yes, local artists, but using artists to tell history, to explain what the city is doing. For instance, we are also working on a gigantic project at which KAZI has been a partner, which is I-35, and we've brought in poets and animators to explain and show how important this project is, but also the importance of the community and the community's response and input and the depth of the project through animation, and the goals of the project through animation and through poetry. So, yes.
Okay. Wow. So, yes, that's really exciting. And hopefully everyone knows where Rosewood Park is. The pillars, the street. What is the
street? So it's Pleasant Valley Bridge. So if you're driving on Pleasant Valley, you can't really see them because you're driving on them. But if you turn around and go down Rosewood, you will drive underneath the bridge, and the pillars are right there.
Yes, I was honored, even though I didn't play a role in the pillar piece, right? These kind of other projects connected to that. It was a really wonderful kind of the launching, and I know like Raisin.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Raisin McIntosh. Yeah.
And that afternoon, like folks came, the lowrider folk, came from the community, and I think that's another wonderful point. With this project, right? It's looking at the history of East Austin and Black and Mexican American communities, right? And that the Pillar projects really kind of brought all of that together, which I thought was so powerful.
Yes, and I'll never forget the story that you told that that people would bring tamales to your church, to your mom's church, and like the crossing of cultures within East Austin and how important it is for both of our cultures to uplift each other and help each other in times of need. So.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really great kind of segue into really wanting to know, because you weren't born in Austin, grew up here. I mean, your family had been connected and done some really important things in East Austin. How do you approach that work with that history? Like, what lens do you use as a Black person connected to East Austin from Austin? How does that influence your work?
So I think one of the things that I think about all the time, so my family, we had a family restaurant called Jean's New Orleans Style Po' Boys and Deli on East 11th Street in Rosewood and Navasota, where they all meet. And we serve New Orleans style food, gumbo. I still get some people reaching out to see if I can cook gumbo and things. But the culture that surrounded the restaurant, when you walked, I used to work at Pro Arts, for instance. You can walk past Kenny Durham's backyard. I still know Harold McMillan. He's still a big part of my life. There's a lot of souls that will never leave, Austin. And that is, and especially the East Austin community, the soul of East Austin community still exists from the past to now. It's how do you connect and how do you, I picture myself as a conduit. I'm not an expert in anything, but I know people that are. I'm an expert at connecting people. In my work, which I call an art practice, it's how do you speak and pull in people at the correct time to help the growth of the city be positive, like the positive growth for Black and brown people in East Austin. Mm-hmm. And getting that understanding to, through art, the understanding of community and ritual and tradition comes back to, it's usually food that comes back. So,
yeah, that is so, thoughtful, and it's resonating with me. Just kind of what you're saying now and what you shared about, these kind of lines are blurred when, we're directors and producers and curators, right? But that in itself really is an art form, because the way you produce something, the way you curate it really sends a message. I mean, you could be doing work that's going to resonate in a totally different way, just kind of like how you're presenting it, So, that's really important. And thank you also for this reminder that the soul of, East Austin is still there.
Yes, it definitely is.
That's something that I think for many of us, we forget. It's a good reminder. Definitely. So many, it's hard. I have so many questions. Excited to have you with us. So, another thing that's kind of come out of this conversation for me is this idea of joy, right? Black joy. And especially in the midst of so much that's going on. And, the role that art plays in joy. I mean, you mentioned, food, and, there's so many ways, right, in which we kind of acknowledge joy. And so even in your work, because a lot of what we're doing is telling these really hard truths and bringing up history that a lot of people are not aware of, right? And so how do you kind of find that balance between kind of telling the stories and truth telling and, also honoring this joy, right, and this rhythm in our communities?
Yes. So, yeah, the work that we do can get very, very heavy. And I'm learning and I'm growing every day. But the thing that keeps me calm and keeps the calm igniting my joy is meditation. Meditation is one of my go-tos. I try to meditate every night and every morning. And I mean, it could even be just meditating on a conversation that you've had years ago with somebody that, I keep bringing up Harold, but he's on my mind right now. Like the wisdom that he has given, or Lisa Bird or Reggie or my mother has given me, and meditating on that wisdom and where they have gotten it from and where it brings like my knowledge for where I am right now. It's more deeper than this present moment. Mm-hmm. Even though it all culminates to this point, but it's deeper, and that understanding of the bigger picture of where we play in the bigger picture, but life is a lot bigger than our individual souls. So all right. That's how I keep my joy.
And you also kind of balance that in what you're presenting as far as like with these stories, you find that joy as well, in because it's there, right? Even with the sorrow.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, you have to choose what you express to the public, because it's part of curating. It's what you want if you want the public to learn in a positive way, we have to curate that space in a way that it doesn't the way that it educates the public in a way that they'll actually understand and grow from it, instead of overthink and lower themselves. Mm-hmm. Growth should always be a positive thing. It should never be a negative thing. So
definitely. Well, in the few minutes we have left, are there any kind of projects or that you'd like to share, or is there a way that people can find out about more of the things that you're working on?
Yes, definitely. So you can go to my website, miriamconner.com, or publiccity.com or .org, and check those out. I think I might need to update my website, but right now we're working on I-35 because TxDOT will be lowering I-35. So what do we want to happen? What does the community want? Especially what do Black and brown people want on top of I-35? It could be affordable housing. It could be a park. It could be but the process of the changing the process is what we're doing. We're trying to bring in community voices, even though the community is not used to being asked what they want. Mm-hmm. Right now is a point where we can tell the people, the institutions, what we want, mm-hmm. and hopefully have that be a part of the process instead of being told what to do. So mm-hmm. please sit at the table, go to ourfuture35.org and put in your input, because we are listening. We've got a scoping working group that Dr. Burnett and Linda Guerrero are co-leading. Mm-hmm. And there will be a point where, all of this input and will be put together and put into the process of hopefully the future of I-35.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for all the work that you've done and are doing. And I'm really glad to have you on.
Definitely. Thank you. It's good to see you or hear from you too.
Yes. So again, this was ZUMBI. My guest was Miriam Conner. And until next time, and be gentle with yourselves, y'all.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You've been listening to ZUMBI with host Stephanie L. Lang on KAZI 88.7, The Voice of Austin. ZUMBI is brought to you with support from the John L. Warfield Center for African and African American Studies and the Center for Community Engagement, two vibrant cultural institutions at the University of Texas at Austin. The views and opinions expressed on ZUMBI may not reflect those of KAZI or the University of Texas at Austin.
If you want to be important, wonderful. If you want to be recognized, wonderful. If you want to be great, wonderful. But recognize that he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. That's a new definition of greatness. By giving that definition of greatness, it means that everybody can be great because everybody can serve. You're